Greetings Internet, and welcome back for another Oxleymations presentation. So, I'm not quite at good enough health that I'm willing to risk the expired candies for the Dr. Dreadful sets review that I said I was going to do if we hit our goal for Thankmas. But I'm feeling just well enough that I'm willing to put myself out there to do a quick little video for a... I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure if you're a subscriber, Ventriloquist Fan 101, but if you are, this one's for you. Also, I just wanted to give a big shout out to everyone who actually donated, because we actually did hit our goal. We got $100. I believe if you look towards the end of the stream, I actually held up the webcam to my laptop screen and showed off that we did actually hit our goal. So, excellent. Thank you to everyone. Both those who tuned in, those who shared it, which I'll be brutally honest, considering how short notice it is, I'm sure not many people shared my video around or shared the link to that live stream. But to those of you who did, and just for those of you who actually tuned in and came back to watch after the fact, thank you. You guys rock. And on that note, I just wanted to show real quick that the people at Thankmas, or from Thankmas, and New Story actually sent me this nice little postcard, which I have very cleverly put masking tape over so I don't dox myself. And they said, and I quote, "Thank you for joining Thankmas. Your generosity is helping us build homes for families who need them most. Thanks to you and the entire Thankmas community, we're providing 1,000 families with a safe shelter. And together we'll celebrate the gift of home. Until everyone has a home, the New Story team." And just thinking about the fact that we actually did something. This community, as small as we are, we actually had an impact on something like this. Granted, I think, if I remember correctly, we raised $100, and because we did it on the day of Thankmas, I believe that got doubled because Thankmas matched our contribution, so we put through $200 towards the new team's, New Stories project, which I believe got a door built for one of the houses, or they were able to get a door thanks to us for one house. But regardless, just the fact that we actually made an impact on something like that, granted it was, I'm talking down on myself. We did an awesome thing, and that is an amazing thing to think about. But getting back to the reason why this video exists, and if you look in the title down below, the shell raiser over here, you'll see why, or the what of what this video is. So as I started to allude to when I turned on the camera at first, I'm doing this particular video as a thank you to one of my viewers from the Thankmas stream who actually made a video request. Now, I'm not going to be doing video requests all the time. This is just a special occasion because one of my viewers actually reached out to me via the chat on Thankmas and asked me to do something like this, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a while. At some point, I was going to use my, the Putting Shells on Shelves series, my collectibles and collecting series, to get to this at some point in the future, but you asked for it, Ventriloquist Fan 101, and you are about to receive. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be showing you all my ventriloquist puppet collection. I'm going to do my best to get through this in a timely fashion because I know not a lot of you are into this sort of thing. So I'm going to start with the oldest puppet in my collection and work my way forward to my most recent, the most modern. So with that said, I'm going to cut here, and when I cut back, I will have the first puppet to talk about. So here we go. Okay, to start things off, as I just mentioned, I'm going to go from oldest to newest. So the oldest puppet in my collection is this little fella right here. This ladies and gentlemen, is Chappie. And I call him that because, well, he's a bit worse for wear. He looks a bit chapped. Now, the story behind this particular figure, you'll notice that he looks kind of odd. And, not just because of that interesting, quote-unquote, cutesy face. That's because when I first got this, it was literally just the head. Like, the jaw was completely missing, the body was just gone, there was no body with it. It was literally just this head with no mouth. And I got him for a really, really good deal because of such. And if I'm thinking correctly, and if I'm remembering correctly, the base head here is from either a Dapper Dan or a 1930s Willie Talk. Regardless, he is a very old puppet. I believe his noggin here is actually made out of composition. Like, it's a kind of wood type material that's basically sawdust and glue. And yeah, this was when a certain disease started spreading across the world. We all know what it is. It's still, unfortunately, rampaging as I speak, but we're not here to think about that. At the start of when that garbage started going around, I was stuck at home and I was bored, and I was just going through Facebook Marketplace, I think, or I was looking at one of the groups that I'm in. I believe it might have been Scary Dolls Need Their Own Group on Facebook. And someone on the group had this head. And I'd been wanting to add a nice old ventriloquist puppet to my collection. I wanted to get myself a Dapper Dan or like one of those old 1930s Charlie McCarthy knockoff puppets. And if you found one that was complete, like, full body, still had the jaw, the suit and everything, they were pretty friggin' expensive. But this one person happens to have this head as part of their collection. Just in a picture, they were showing off everything. I spotted him in the background and I was like, random question. That is a very cool puppet head. By any chance, would you be looking to let go of that? And they're like, sure, I guess. And I was like, okay, would you take 20 for it, shipped? And they were like, sure. Apparently they got this very, very cheaply, because, again, it was just the head, no jaw, nothing. I might still have a picture on my phone that shows off what Chappie here looked like when I first got him. If I do, it'll be on the screen here in a second. If not, then, well, this is just going to continue. But anyway, I asked them if they would be willing to sell. They said yes, and I got him for $20 shipped, and they were happy to get the money, and I was happy to get the head. Now, when it comes to the body of Chappie, as I was starting to allude to, I had a lot of free time at this point in time because, well, blah blah 19 happened. So I was able to get the head, and I brought it home, and I made him a jaw. The new lower jaw he has was made out of, I think it was Super Sculpey, as were his hands. I made this all myself. So I made the jaw out of Super Sculpey, I made the hands, and then I found a piece of string. This might have been from an old yo-yo, I forget exactly. But I figured out how to rig up the jaw so he does actually work. Yep. Blah, 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 blah. And I hand painted all the stuff on the inside, gave him a nice little set of teeth. I even repainted his upper lip because it was very chipped, but admittedly I did not do a great job. I just wanted it to kind of match the lower lip better because the original paint on the lip was a lot more bright red, almost orangey. But anyway, I built him a body. And the body itself, I based off of another ventriloquist figure I'm going to be talking about here in a bit. A ventriloquist doll I have of Jerry Mahoney. And by doll, I mean like this, you know, nice soft cloth body with the pull string in the back of the head to make him go like... But anyway, that's Chappie. Now we'll move on to the next oldest figure in the collection, which I just spoke of, Jerry Mahoney. Okay, so I've got Jerry here, and I might want to put a little bit of a warning here. I should have put a warning up before with the Chappie, because I know there are people out there who are like, ventriloquist puppets, and, you know, like, that thing's not normal, that's not natural. You know, they get scared of them. Automatanophobia, automatonophobics. But anyway, you have been warned. Jerry here has seen better days, and, well, I'll just jump right into it and I'll show you. So here we have my 1950s Jerry Mahoney ventriloquist doll. And if you noticed, I was moving my arms before I put this up. That's because, well, his head is not quite attached right now. Anyway, this is the next earliest, oldest ventriloquist figure in my collection. Jerry here I found at a flea market for $10 because, well, obviously he's a project. He's a project figure. And the story that I was told by the guy who owned it, the guy who sold it to me, was that he and his wife had purchased this puppet because they wanted to fix him up as, you know, kind of a couple's project. And from what I can tell, they started on him. They got a pretty good start. Like, they painted up. You can tell the paint right here doesn't match. It's a lot pinker, a lot brighter. Started covering up the cracks in his face with paint. And I think that might have been about as far as they got. I don't know precisely what happened to his wife, but she's, I'll put it politely, she is gone. She is no longer among the living. And I'm not going to get too far into detail on that because I don't know the details. Regardless, this Jerry came from that guy. And yeah, this was made by the Juro Novelty Company back in the 50s. And as you can see, he does still work, even though he's very messed up. And it would appear that while he's been wherever I had him before this, his head has begun to crack again, because he did not have that little gap with the plaster showing right there before now. I don't know what happened to him. Anyways, yeah, he was made by the Juro Novelty Company back in the 50s. And he was made to represent a popular TV character, a puppet used by the ventriloquist Paul Winchell, who is more famously known as the voice of Tigger, as well as Gargamel, and I'm trying to think of other ones he did. He did a bunch of cartoon voices back in his heyday, back before he passed away in the early 2010s. Yes. But anyway, this was one of the first ventriloquial figures, one of the first toy figures that he had produced of his character. And let's see, what else can I say about this? He's got his original suit jacket and his original dickie. And yes, that's what that's called, this piece of fabric right here with the collar on it. Unfortunately, the main reason why I don't have his head attached is because the fact that the material for his body is so old and has been just worked over one too many times. The cloth has basically begun to just deteriorate. Like, you see where that wire is sticking out right there in front of your faces? Right here? The wire there is supposed to be in this part right here, but the fabric has just kind of worn away to the point where I can't attach it properly. I'm going to have to do a little bit of sewing to put that back together. But this is as far as I've gotten Jerry so far. As I was alluding to with Chappie over there, while I was working on Jerry here, I decided to study how his cloth body was put together, which is how I was able to figure out how to get Chappie's, bottom, we'll say, to be flat like Jerry's here. So I basically just unstuffed Jerry's body and studied it, studied the fabrication, studied how it was all put together, and I did my best from there. So yeah. And as you can see, Jerry is missing his shoes, he's missing his pants, he's missing his hands. But I did wind up making a pair of hands for him just like Chappie's. I just don't have them attached because I want to paint them to kind of match the head first. Another part of the reason why the head isn't attached currently is because I'm hoping to chip away this old paint and give him a brand new paint job because, let's face it here, ladies and gents, he's not looking so great. But he's still smiling. Now then, moving on to the next puppet in my collection. So, be back momentarily.